Hey there, welcome to Knife Spot. It's a spot for knives. Today it's a spot to talk about Rough Ryder Celestial Series Barlow. You know, this knife has gotten a lot of attention as of late, not only because it is a superior design, a superior finish, the scales are absolutely beautiful on it. Everything's done very, very well on this knife, and I can't stress that enough. Rough Ryder makes excellent Barlow knives. They are not expensive, but they are excellent. Rough Ryder knives tend to be some of the best reviewed budget knives on the market, but generally, because I am a Rough Ryder freak, I really am, I tend to think that they are a little bit better than most budget knives, and I think that they're also better than most mid-level knives, and I think they're also better than some high-level knives, depending on what you're looking at. This is an excellent knife. Rough Ryder did a good job designing this. I have my doubts whether or not that R is supposed to be the right side up or not. The other Barlows I have from Rough Ryder all have that R the other direction. I'm not going to say that's a mistake, but it is a little bit different than the other ones. But then again, this knife is different from the other ones. This one has this wonderful razor blade in here as opposed to a standard blade, which I like quite a bit. The big thing on this knife that everybody keeps talking about, and this is why I want to talk about it, is a special a special ability this knife has. Now, I was showing my wife this knife the other day, and I was showing her that on the Celestial Series, this metal pieces that are in here are actually they're kind of a metal woven fabric almost that's on the inside. A metal woven fabric. And I want to describe it that way instead of a mesh, because a mesh can be very stiff when it comes to metal. This is a very fine mesh. This would almost be like a material made out of metal before it goes into this process. So these scales are a little translucent. You can see depth in them, so it's really beautiful. So I took out my flashlight, and I was showing my wife, and I said, look at this wonderful depth. By the way, look at that blue on this knife. Looking at it, and I said, look at all this depth in here. She says, wow, that's really amazing, right? So I went to go put the knife away in another room, and I discovered something. When I turned off the light, this knife glowed in the dark. Check it out. All right, down up here. You can see that knife glowing in the dark. Now, you really got to charge this knife up to have that happen. This is a 1600 lumen Phoenix I'm showing, but you can even see there as I go over at the Phoenix, the phosphors on the inside are reacting to the light and charging up. You know, as they charge up, they get brighter and brighter. So this knife can be very, very bright. Now, it does not hold this glow-in-the-dark quality for very long, because that was not the intention of this knife. The intention of this knife, I am of the firm belief, was never to be glow-in-the-dark. In fact, I am of the belief that this knife, that the importer, Smoky Mountain Knife Works, was not really aware of that glow-in-the-dark property until it was already imported. No one seemed to have known about it. I've talked to a lot of different people that are former employees and current employees. There's an interesting narrative coming from Smoky Mountain right now that says that they knew about the glow-in-the-dark property, but it wasn't consistent enough to where they wanted to market it that way, so they just didn't say anything about it. And I can understand that. They wouldn't want people saying, well, my knife doesn't glow in the dark enough, so I want to return it, you know. And they say they're not sure if all of them glows. And the reason they're not sure is because I don't think they knew about that quality to begin with. And you know what? That's okay. Okay? Importers and manufacturers of stuff, they were looking at the colors of this. They were looking at this beautiful blues and so forth with this knife. They were looking at a lot of the beautiful colors and depth and what that did. They were not concerned whether or not it glowed in the dark. My guess is that the manufacturer was probably trying to use some material it already had or incorporate recycled materials from another project, and they had some of this product that had phosphors on the inside. By the way, I'm going to make a specific note that phosphors are not phosphorus. That's important to remember. Phosphors are not phosphorus. phosphors are in lots of natural things. Things that glow in the dark. Lots of sea animals and plants and things have phosphors, and moths have phosphor, and birds have phosphorus on them. Phosphorus, on the other hand, is very poisonous. There's nothing wrong with this knife. In fact, this knife is an excellent knife. It is an excellent knife and a beautiful knife. This whole series, I absolutely love the sides on it. And I'm not even a fan of blue knives at all. Generally, blue knives don't make it into my collection. But man, this one was special. And when I found out it glowed in the dark, or some of them glow in the dark, I got really excited. I really liked the fact that this knife glowed in the dark. It was an extra thing to say, hey, oh my gosh, dude, check this out. I'm going to shine my knife on my light. Now let's look at it. And you're going to see it glows in the dark. And your buddy's going to be like, oh, that's really cool. And it's even more interesting about this is if this knife, if some of them don't glow and some of them do glow, that means the one that glow really brightly like this one are more collectible, right? So if you have a version of this knife or anything else from this series that glows real bright, according to the manufacturer, they're not sure all of them glow. The ones that do glow are going to be more valuable ultimately. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, phosphors like this and toys and things that are made and put into these epoxy resins that are made into the scales on these phosphors in here don't last forever. They have a finite life. After a few years, this knife will stop glowing completely. But it's a neat little extra with this knife, and that's one of the things I like. And I am the firm believer, and hold on to your hats, folks. I believe, and this is me going out on a thing, I was the first customer to notice. There may have been somebody else, but nobody said anything about that. I was the first person to really put this up on Smoky Mountain's page and go, hey, this knife glows in the dark. Why? And it's funny because they kind of put me off for a little bit. Then they kind of told me the story about, well, we weren't sure if they all glowed, so we were not sure that we wanted to use that as in our marketing at all. But then again, I started talking to some other people that were involved with this knife in its inception, and they think we didn't know. So again, don't be ashamed, Smoky Mountain. If it wasn't intended, fine. It's a happy accident. All right? Happy accident. This is a phrase that lots of companies need to learn for their marketing. That's a good thing that this knife has a little something extra. Sure, it wasn't intended. Sure, that glowing property can't be guaranteed on these things. But it's still cool. It's very cool. And fitting into a fine line of knives like the Rough Ryder line. Again, huge fan. In fact, super fan of the Rough Ryder line. I have over 100 Rough Ryders at this point. And you're going to be seeing a lot of them on this channel. So I'm going to tell you, this is one of my favorites. This has spent a lot of time in the pocket already. All right. Thanks for joining me on the Knife Spot today. Future videos will be less shaky. Future videos will be better edited. This is video number 2. So as my second video of all time, I thank you for watching. Have a great day.